Hi there, yogis. My name is Karen, and like my grandmothers before me, I have osteoporosis of the hip. In this short video, we're going to chat about bone health, bone loss, and how yoga can and can't help you to keep your bones strong. I'll give you 3 practical exercises to get you started on the path to the strength and muscle flexibility that will help support your bones and promote a long lifetime of functional mobility. First, let me introduce you to my right hip. As you can see, I have a little extra hardware in the form of 2 giant-looking screws passing through the top of my femur, through the femoral neck, and into the femoral head. One minute, I was walking down a cobblestone street on a rainy Tuesday morning in a quaint medieval village in rural France. Next thing I knew, I was lying prone on the cobblestones. I'd slipped on a slick electrical plate in the sidewalk. I was worried I'd broken my iPhone, but in fact, I'd broken my hip. At the moment, I didn't even know the French word for hip. In case you're curious, it's haunch. Before I broke my own hip, my knowledge of hip anatomy was, shall we say, skin deep. I thought my hip bones were the bony prominences you can feel poking out at the front of your jeans. When my grandmother broke her hip in her 80s, I'd wondered how'd she manage that? Had she been breakdancing? I mean, it was the 80s. What I thought of as hip is actually the ASIS, the anterior superior iliac spine, part of the pelvis. Like me, my grandmother had broken the neck of her femur, the thigh bone, the largest bone in the body, the head of which fits into the acetabulum of the pelvis like a ball in a socket. Let's chat about how I got myself into this mess and how you can avoid it. Turns out certain people are more likely to lose bone mass and density. I checked a lot of those boxes. Of the 200 million people worldwide with osteoporosis, about 80% are women. Check, don't be a woman. Women can lose up to 20% of their bone density during the 5 to 7 years following menopause. My slip and fall accident happened 7 years after menopause, right on schedule. Check. Don't be an older woman. Family history can be a predictor of osteoporosis. Both my grandmothers had it. Check. Choose your forebears wisely. Smaller, lighter women tend to lose bone more quickly than larger framed women. Check. Gotta live large. Okay, that was not helpful. I was blindsided when the French doctor told me I had fragility fracture. I used to be a marathon runner. I've done regular weight bearing exercise all my life. I was taking calcium and vitamin D. Osteoporosis is a silent disease exhibiting no symptoms until you break a bone. Fractures can occur anywhere, but most frequently in the hips, spinal vertebrae, or wrists. My broken femur was corrected with surgery, but it's chilling to learn that the 1-year mortality rate following hip pinning surgery is 21%. If I'd experienced this fracture 100 years ago, I would never have walked again and likely would not have survived the year. I cannot recover lost bone mass, and the specter of accelerating bone fragility haunts my future. The goal now is to slow down the loss. Diet and supplements can help, and there are some drug therapies available. Because I experienced a fragility fracture at a relatively young age, I give myself a daily injection of synthetic parathyroid hormone. Weight-bearing exercises and plyometrics can help maintain bone mass as well. A few small studies, including a 2015 Harvard paper, have even suggested that yoga can reverse osteoporotic bone loss. Take that with a grain of salt, and not too much salt because excess sodium accelerates bone loss. The study is flawed and has not been replicated. But what we do know for sure is that while yoga may not grow back your bones, it is a weight-bearing exercise that pits groups of muscles against each other, exposing the underlying bones to greater force. Yoga improves posture, balance, and coordination, and it increases the range of motion and strength in the muscles supporting our bones. A regular yoga practice lowers inflammation and cortisol levels. Plus, it's free. All you need is a mat and a little floor space. Let's get moving with 3 simple poses you can follow along with and do at home. Come to your mat and do the exercises with me. We'll start with a tried and true favorite, side angle pose. You can pause the video here to take a screenshot of these instructions for later. I'll also paste them into the video description below. Step your feet wide, about 1.5 meters apart. Open your hips to the long side of the mat. Right foot forward, left at a 45-degree angle, heels in line. Bend your front leg deep at a 90-degree angle. Graze the mat with your right fingers. Right arm pushes against your right leg. Corkscrew your legs. Inner rotate left, outer rotate right. Extend your left arm overhead in a line pointing to the upper right corner of the room. Imagine you are drawing a long diagonal line of energy from your left foot. Gaze up at the left hand, opening your chest to the sky. Stay here for 2 to 4 breaths, breathing through your nose. 4 counts in, 4 counts out. Release the pose, pivot your feet, and reverse. In side angle, the hip joint of the front leg flexes, abducts, and externally rotates. Your bent leg uses the quads and hip flexors to support, while your hamstrings and gluteal muscles work to stabilize the hips and keep you steady in the posture. Your extended leg uses the quadriceps, abductors, and adductor muscles isometrically. Tree pose. Feel free to pause the video here for a screenshot.
Start with your feet together with your arms at your sides. Tuck your pelvis slightly. Engage your core and focus your gaze on an unmoving point in front of you. Place your hands in a C grip at your waist. Shift your weight into your left leg. Spread your toes. Kickstand your ankle. Place the sole of your right foot against the inside of your left calf, or tuck your right foot against the inside of your left thigh. Press your hands into prayer position. Squeeze your left leg and right foot against each other. After a few breaths, interlace your fingers and slowly raise them above your head like a wreath. Depress your shoulders. Option to gaze at your hands. Reverse. Release the pose. Repeat with the other leg. Tree pose is great for balance, coordination, and strength. You can do it almost anywhere, anytime. Don't worry if you wobble or fall out of the pose. Just get back into it. Tree engages your abs, glutes, quadriceps, and tensor fasciae latae, the muscles that support your hips and pelvis to keep you standing and walking strong. Lizard pose, also known as blaster, is a great pose for both strengthening and stretching the muscles of the hip. Start in downward facing dog. Extend your right leg forward outside of your right hand. Heel toe your foot diagonally away from the hand. Drop your left knee to the mat. Untuck your toes and slide your knee back so that your left leg is in a long extension. Relax your right hip so that the flexed knee also relaxes to the right. Your right foot may supinate and even turn on its side as your hip opens into the stretch. Stay on your fingertips, shoulders slightly retracted, spine straight for a more active lizard. Use your 4-4 Ocean Ujjayi breath for the active version and stay in the pose for 5 breaths. Option to drop to your elbows, a pillow or a rolled blanket, or to the mat for a yin version of this pose. Option to use 4-8 nose-to-mouth breathing. For the yin version, stay in this pose for 2 to 5 minutes. Repeat on the other side.
So yogis, today we chatted about osteoporosis, what it is, who gets it, and what you can and can't do about it. We talked about how yoga can help strengthen the muscles that support your bones and bring balance and flexibility to your movement to help protect you from falls leading to life-threatening fractures. Stay tuned for more exercises and poses to help you strengthen and heal your body and mind. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for updates. My name is Karen. See you soon.